Hey there! So, last year I made a video on a evaporative cooler from a brand called Champion, and the review was pretty positive. It didn't use that much power, and it was able to cool the house. Not great, but it was able to do it. The house is way oversized for that swamp cooler. The swamp cooler is for 600 square foot, and the house is 1,600 square foot. So I went ahead and got a fancier evaporative cooler. This one is from a brand called Mastercool. It is the flat type, the kind that kind of just hangs out of the window. And the evaporative cooler here is rated for right around 2,000 square feet. It uses about 500 watts, which is about as much as a 5,000 BTU window air conditioning unit, aka the absolute smallest window air conditioning unit you can buy. And overall, it has been working great. As you see, it says Master Link, but it's actually Mastercool. I don't understand why. It has a pump on it, and it has 3 modes, high, medium, and low, and then the power button. And for 1,600 square foot, when it's 100 degrees outside, it's a 1970s mobile home. I find medium to be perfectly fine. It keeps the house right around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The furthest rooms away from the evaporative cooler are around 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep in mind, it's 100 degrees outside, so I'd say that's pretty good. And on low, I'd say that's good for the nighttime, but like, when the thing is on high, it's really powerful. When the thing is on high, it blows really hard. Here's what the temperature gauge shows about roughly 8 feet away from the evaporative cooler. Outdoors, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and indoors, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 50% humidity. And for context, if I didn't have the evaporative cooler pump turned on, it would be about 100 degrees inside here with 14% humidity. So the pump is both making a very nice humidity and also a nice temperature. It's working perfectly in this weather, but it gets warmer than this in the summer. Keep in mind, we're only in April right now, alright? So give it a few months and it will be maybe a 2 in front of here sometimes. So yeah, it's been over 120 degrees several times the last year. So we'll see how this holds up like later in the year, like July. And further away from the evaporative cooler, the other side of the house, it was 81 degrees at one point, and now it's 77 degrees. I was at 81 degrees. Well, the reason why is I forgot to turn the evaporative cooler on, and it got to 81 in here. So once I turned it on, it cooled back down. I also have the window almost entirely open because the evaporative cooler is pretty powerful, and if I don't have the windows open, it will just pile up humidity in here. You kind of have to have the windows open for evaporative coolers to work. So I have this one open a lot. If you had a pretty weak evaporative cooler, you'd only want to open like half of what it's open right now, but I find this to be the best with this evaporative cooler. Here's what it looks like from the outside. This unit uses the honeycombs, which are stupidly expensive. It's basically a paper filter, and it's $100 to buy. Now, there are ways to use aspen filters, which is the kind I have in the old cooler, which is right here. The old cooler used aspen, which is basically a bunch of weeds in a filter. That's kind of what it is. And this one is a lot cleaner, and I also added a descaler. It's right here. And this will hopefully prevent scaling. As you see, it's pretty clean. The filter, I haven't used it that much, but it's pretty clean. You might notice these filters in here, they're white. That is hard water deposits, calcium and stuff like that. So by having the descaler in here, it's been keeping the filter pretty clean, which is awesome. You might notice it's dripping quite a bit from the bottom. Yeah, it's my fault. I think it's because it's over full, actually. That might be why. Oh, actually, I know I never put the screws back in it. I took this apart and forgot to put the screws in. That's why it's leaking. Yeah, that will do it. That's my fault, actually. Oh well. On the high speed, it is very, very loud. On the medium speed, it's not that loud. And on the low speed, I don't want to use the word silent, but it's a very, very quiet machine. I prefer medium and low, but if I have to use high, like it is on right now, it is pretty loud. Also, this machine will only work in dry humidity climates. So if you're living in Florida, Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, the middle of the state, it's too humid. Don't try this. Same with Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, eastern Texas, and also up the East Coast like North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. All of those areas, these aren't really ideal. But if you're like in California, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, Western Texas, and Wyoming, all of these drier states, that would actually be quite good. Evaporative coolers are not air conditioners, by the way, so they will not replace air conditioning in, again, humid climates, but for places like this, it kind of is an air conditioning replacement. It uses a lot less power to use than an air conditioner. It's cheaper to run and cheaper to repair than an air conditioner, so there's that. But if it's 130 degrees outside in Death Valley or something during the hottest day of the year or something, you might have a problem because it only cools the air down roughly 20 to 30, sometimes at most like 35 degrees. So if it's 120 degrees outside, it might be 90 in the house or 85. I don't know. We'll find out later in the year, but 100 degrees outside is blowing 75 degree air in, which is about 25 degrees drop. So fine when it's 100, but we'll see what happens later on. All right, well, thanks for watching. For some reason, the whole camera is like lagging. I think the phone's overheating. All right. Maybe it's just because it's a basic cell phone. I don't know. Like, it looks on my screen like it's like 10 FPS. I don't know. Either way, thanks for watching and have a great day.